Hi, and welcome to Thanksgiving Podcast, episode 16. The Lobster. This might be a short one, but I've been thinking about this for a few weeks. I don't think I'm at the point where I'm gonna figure it out talking about it. It's the story is a bit complicated because it has stuff to do about relationships. And what is that trying to say? At a glance, it looks like it's trying to say something about being an old maid or living a life alone. Something. It's some sort of commentary about being left behind. So it's a funny movie, and also spoilers. I'm not even sure I should cover this one because the movie's that good. And then I noticed when looking at Wikipedia, I might have talked about this already. But looking at Wikipedia, at the end of it, they don't spoil it. They don't spoil the ending. They say something different. But what happens to folks who've seen it and want to talk about it? So, in The Lobster, the idea is that it seems like there's a bit of magic in the world. There's a system in place where people, if by the age of, I think it's 30, it's kind of like Logan's Run. By the age of 30, they want society to look a certain way, young and healthy. So, you turn yourself in to die. At the age of 30, you turn yourself in to die. And if you don't, also, I think you're selected. But, the cops come around and just execute you on the spot. And they shoot you with the laser and you vanish or something. I forgot what it was. But in The Lobster, around the ages, if you can't find a partner, a wife or a husband, by that time, then they turn you into a wild animal. They turn you into something. And the main character picked a lobster. Because who picks a lobster? He thought it would be interesting. Also, I've been thinking about what the heck is a lobster? Usually, sometimes stuff in the ocean translates to stuff on land. That makes me wonder what a fish is. A person? If if something in the ocean is swimming around and then it hits land and it starts to become something else, like a seahorse has the face of a horse. That's a horse in the water. There's other stuff that translates. And a lobster What the heck is a lobster? It looks like I started to think of its hands. It has these giant claws, and the only thing on land that looks like that is a scorpion. Scorpions look like that, but the lobster doesn't have a weapon on its tail. It's just a fin. People love to eat lobster. So are they? They're eating a bug, basically. But no, it's in the ocean. That's a different kind of meat. But that's scorpion. So you're telling me that at one point the lobster, by the way, lobsters, when they get big like that, when you see them at Red Lobster, the big ones, they get like that from eating. They have this gene in them where if they win in a fight, they get bigger. So if you see a giant lobster, that's a gladiator of some kind. It's the strangest animal. They don't they could you could feed a lobster and it won't grow. But if a lobster gets if has the kill for its food, somehow it's like Mario. It levels up to be a bigger lobster. It's the weirdest thing. I don't know. It's probably just the food, but no. I heard it was something about them having the fight. Also, I wonder if that has any bearing on the story. Because he's meek. He's he's a gentle person. He's quiet. He's soft spoken. And then he's forced to fight. I don't know. But what I was saying was, if you take an ocean lobster and then it crawls on land, and it's like, I'm going to be a whatever the heck is on land, and then it turns into a scorpion, and the fish tail curls up, is nasty. The fish tail that curls up and then becomes a weapon, a stinger with poison. With poison is nasty. I don't know. I wouldn't want to eat that. The same thing with shrimp. I heard shrimp are just roaches in the ocean. And you look at them and they've got all those legs running. And people are like, oh, delicious. I'm like, throw it away. I don't think people see the finished product. I don't think they look at it. It's got scales running down his back, all sorts of nasty stuff going on. But if that's happening, what is a fish? I heard nothing looks like an octopus on land. I heard those were aliens. I heard octopus were aliens that landed on Earth, and whales, because whales are actually intelligent. I heard that they're from somewhere else, and they landed on Earth, and they were suited for the water, and it's just that's just how it is. If you were an alien and you were looking for a Goldilocks planet and you were water based, you might say, fine, I'll never have to interact with trouble. But a fish gets on land and it starts to grow hands and feet. What does it turn into? They're thin. They're thin. The eyes are on either side. What on land is thin? No, they're not thin, are they? Fish are nasty. They don't have eyelids. Fish are nasty. Anyway, the lobster. It's a romance story. This guy turns into a lobster. I didn't mean to say that. This guy has prospects of finding someone. The idea is that there's a resort that you go to if you haven't found someone by the age of 30. I don't think the government's in charge of it. I think it's just part of the world. If you feel hopeless, you go to this resort and they will turn you into a wild animal. And then you won't have to think about not finding your partner. Or society has deemed you incapable of of contributing. So he goes to this resort, and it's a mess. The people there, you see why they can't find someone. You see why they're having trouble. They have the one scene that sticks out is the ballroom scene. And these people, they're trying to dance, and they shuffle, and they're wallflowers, and it's music that nobody wants to listen to. And then you find out that the resort, the people running it, aren't on the up and up. If you upset one, they'll just turn you into something just for fun. And that's what happens to the main character. The people at the resort, he gets in a fight with one of them. And then they attack him and they say, we're going to turn you into such and such wherever we feel like. So he runs for his life. And in doing so, he runs out into the woods and he finds that there's a militia of people who have run from the resort. There's an underground resistance of loners who have run from this place and don't want to be turned into something. I'm going to fast forward. But so now half the story is them fighting a resort from the woods, which is this crazy. It's a handful of folks who have decided to hang out behind the Holiday Inn and attack it. It's just silly. So these guerrilla fighters, two of them fall in love, and then they find out that the group that they join is no good. Fast forward, they run off together, and it's the end of the movie. Happily ever after. They fell in love. And I'm stuck. I don't understand. Here's the big spoiler of the movie. I took a short break. So they run off together by the end of the story. He goes to a resort to find someone. A place where people connect and they find dates and spouses. It's like a last resort place. It's Match.com or something, where people are desperate, so they're willing to lower their standards, I bet. Then he finds that the place isn't right for him because they're willing to attack him. So he can't. The resource is gone, so he leaves. And other people who get rejected are bitter and they attack the resort for being false. Then they find out that the militia's no good. And they run away together. Now, my thoughts on it were that if they're up to stuff, if you find yourself in a couple that's actually running around doing militia missions and whatnot and attacking something, they're more than a couple. They're cohorts or something. It's like Bonnie and Clyde. So they must have been really close. The story set up a relationship that was really close. So at the end, I'm just going to watch the end because that's what's confusing me. Really is confusing me. I'm going to go watch the end and come back. It's the Spoilers, but it's the bathroom scene. Okay, so I'm gonna cancel this one. The Lobster is a really good movie, but it's that's not the ending that I remember when I first watched it. And I think I just ran into one of those otherworld things. What is it? Bernstein? Uh, if Sinbad made that genie movie, I forgot what you call that. Starts with an M. I don't know. I have a feeling I have a feeling I'm in some alternate history or something. Because what I remember of that movie is one of them goes to the bathroom and they're nervous and they look in the mirror and they check to see if they're presentable enough to go back out and be charming. And when I think it's her when she gets back out to the table, she's deflated, staring at an empty chair. And they don't pan down, so you can't see what's in the chair, if there is something in the chair. And it's such a great ending that people talked about it forever. Because he turned into a lobster after he fell in love. But I just watched it, and that's not the ending. He goes to the bathroom to poke his eyes out. There's some, I don't know, some symbolic metaphor of what love is or something. Some wound had to be created. I don't know. It's weird. Um, that is not the ending that I remember. She sits there by herself and watches the window. I don't know. That's way more complicated, and I haven't given that any thought. So what I was gonna say is the fact that he turns into a lobster after falling in love suggests that you never know how the other person feels, even if you accept being in a relationship, which means the whole premise is upside down. I don't know. It's almost in favor. You can't accept a one-sided love where someone doesn't respect you. But people is part of, I guess, what a relationship is, that you it's a trust. It's sort of a trust fall, I guess. So I don't know. Maybe they're saying love is built on trust. Uh, I'm gonna keep thinking about this one, but that's the Lobster. It's not what I remember, but it's a good movie. It's worth watching. It's really funny. All right. Thanks for listening.